You know, she's been saying for months that I should try and talk to you. Of course, I'm sure she didn't mean like this.
It's okay. I know you both have been through a lot.
Yeah, we really have.
Hey everyone, Jerry White with Bronson Creative and the director of The Horror. And today we're going to be doing another scene breakdown. So this one is going to be part of the final invasion when Malcolm breaks back into the therapist's house. So when we made this part of the sequence, so this was our final trip. This is one of the last couple of nights of principal photography. And shooting at night is very, very difficult, especially when you see outside. So we had to kind of light those things. Thankfully, we were in a neighborhood. People left their lights on outside. They had kind of their front porch things on. And we were also in a small town that was very receptive to all of this. So make sure when you're making a film that you're paying attention to that, of like how your impact will be on the neighborhood, especially when you're making micro budget things and stuff like that. So Malcolm had come back. He'd shaved finally. He'd kind of cleaned up because he knew he had to interact with Kristen. And one of the things that I remember from growing up was this right here. And so we put that sequence into the film where he saw the key because we had all grown up in kind of those neighborhoods where the key was always underneath the mat. And we were able to play with that of, you know, who knows what, things like that. Kristen's a therapist. She can't reveal any of this to her client. And so, but she is aware of how specific this situation is with the two of them, with brother and sister. So we were able to play with this. We tie back this shot from the very, very beginning, one of the first shots of the film. And whenever Callie's character, Isabel, shows up for the first time. And so we kind of play back and forth with these framing. I wanted to kind of mirror and echo these kind of things. So these next couple of minutes are kind of a mental experience with Malcolm. So Malcolm is playing around with manipulating her a little bit. And so one of the things of the story that we wanted to play with was how much is Malcolm actually giving us at any given point of the story. How much is he giving to his sister, to his friends, to Kristen, to anybody? And so throughout the film, you realize that he's not giving a lot of information. He's hiding a lot of things, and he's twisting things to his own kind of understanding of what the scenario is. He's also went through a lot of trauma, and everybody's kind of processing it in different ways. And so I think Isabel says early on is like to Kristen, as long as you agree that he's not experiencing this in a way anybody would want him to experience it, I think that's kind of where we led with that. So here he's calling Isabel and leaving her a message, trying to figure out. And he's also kind of dropping some interesting clues to us, like my phone is out of battery, things like that. And so that's just feels like it's just dropped out, but in return, it's him trying to manipulate Kristen. And so here he starts to talk about, is anybody home? Things like that. And so one of the things that he's very good at is trying to figure out what is actually happening in this scenario. And so he's playing here and he talks about, you know, nice house and, oh, you only share the one car. Like he's starting to figure out that Kristen, you know, is home alone. He's filling out that kind of scenario. And so that was an interesting kind of sequence to play with because we wanted to keep him close enough that he could manipulate her, but we also wanted to show that her safety is kind of in danger if he does decide to go forward with this. And if you've seen the film, he does decide to go forward with this. And so one of the things that we were able to do with that is get a lot of information across really, really fast about like how alone she is. And so reusing this shot out here, now we know, you as the audience also know that there is a key underneath there, and we were able to play with that. This here will be a shot that kind of plays back earlier on. As you can see, we wanted to really play with long takes. And at this point, we actually we experimented with trying to get Malcolm to walk up the stairs in that mirror. It never really worked, so we just played with sound design instead, and we were able to keep that kind of depth. But one of the things that you can think about when you're playing with your film is like, what can you do visually? What can you do audibly? And then what can you do with things that may not be as on the nose with your dialogue? So you can play with those and try to make the world bigger. So here we had a creaky house. You can hear all of the footsteps upstairs, and we were able to start playing with that kind of understanding of what is going on in the house. and where are things. At this point, you know from the beginning too, she also has a child. So at this point, it could be a kid that's just walking around upstairs. Somebody could be awake, things like that. And so, as you find out almost immediately, nope, kid's asleep. And so we were able to kind of like bring you back down. And so this was kind of a tension exercise. And we had a lot of shots that got cut. We had some shots when she was walking up the stairs. You actually saw Malcolm already standing at the top of the stairs, almost in this like kind of split screen. But here we were like, what if we play with this one shot again, which kind of echoes whenever Isabel walks into the house of the lake house. And so we were able to play with this, and we were able to come in. And hats off to Tristan for keeping focus sharp and everything like that, because it's just Tristan, just the cinematographer. And so, but we wanted to play with how can we get these two to confront each other, but also be able to surprise the audience with it. Because I think at this point, you know that something is coming. You just don't know around what corner it is. And I think when you stay in that one shot, you're able to track with the characters, and you're able to get a little bit more intimate with them. So whenever they see it is the same time the audience sees it. And I really liked playing around with that in this film. This is also the first time that you hear the story about how their parents died from his perspective. And if you've watched the whole film, you know that this is a drastically different conversation than Isabel has shared with Kristen. And so you have a couple different ways you can go with that as an audience member. You can go, oh, is he lying? Did he not tell the truth to Isabel? Or is that really what happened? And he's trying to save her from experiencing that because he was the one that was there? Or was he even that close to it? Did people die on impact? Did any of this really happen? Malcolm's character is a little unreliable throughout the story. And from the very, very opening sequence, when you know he loves stories, he loves these ghost stories, he loves telling stories. And so this right here, is this another story, or is this really truthfully his reality? And so I'm going to leave that up to you to decide. But yeah, I love that transition right there back to the lake house with the where is she? And that's about the last time that you see Malcolm and Kristen. With that being said, watch the rest of the film. You can buy a copy over at bronsoncreative.us. We got about another 10 minutes of the film right here that's about to happen. But I'm going to stop it there and go check out the film. And if you made your own film and you think it'd be great for physical distribution, or you want to share it with me just to share it, I love watching what indie filmmakers are doing. That's why I got into education. And I think the future of indie cinema is bright. So have a great day and check out The Horror.